The people who face the greatest struggles in life are often the ones who end up stronger and more resilient and just better off in the long run, because it isn't the struggle that is the setback. It's all just part of the process, but it's how you deal with that struggle and what you can learn from it that really makes the difference. It took me a long time to get myself going in business when I started to work for myself. I had initially left my job because I was really burnt out, and for some strange reason, I decided that I had about 6 months to maybe take a bit of time off, regather my thoughts and decide what I wanted to do, and to get myself up and running in a completely new business, or whatever I decided to do eventually. But the trouble with that was that I actually didn't have a clear idea at that point what I wanted that to look like. I knew I wanted to do, I generally knew what I wanted, but I didn't have a clear idea of what the end result would be. And also, having left my job after burning out, I really wasn't in any fit state to go straight into trying to build something new, particularly, a business or something else from the ground up, when I actually had no experience in ever having done that before. That was a really unrealistic way for me to approach that goal and for me to give myself that time limit on it. And so progress was actually really slow. I didn't know what I was doing. I spent a long time trying lots of different things, which was great. But all I wanted was to be okay. I didn't want to be burnt out anymore. I didn't want to feel overwhelmed and tired and stressed and unsure of what I was doing. And I also wanted to be able to prove to everyone that I was okay by the success of this business that I hadn't even got an idea of what it was and I hadn't launched it yet. But I wanted to be able to show people that I was okay through that success, and I wanted to just feel okay and not have to address any of the problems, but just be able to move straight on with it. And looking back, that pause I had in between jobs was a lot longer than I had initially anticipated. It wasn't longer than 6 months, but it was everything that I didn't know that I needed. I had left because I was burnt out, and it allowed me to start recovering from that and actually giving myself some space to heal from it, really, and let go of some of that overwhelm and the stress I had been feeling. It gave me a chance to experiment with different ideas. I was thinking about writing and maybe travel writing, and it gave me the opportunity to learn more about these careers and try it and see what I liked and what I didn't like. And ultimately I decided not to go for that, but I really value having that experience and that opportunity to experiment and try different things. It also exposed a lot of fears that I had around standing out on my own, particularly after being one of many working in different companies for so long. And the kind of things that come up around that, like marketing, myself and my skills as a person on my own, having the sort of confidence and the trust in myself to make decisions and to follow through on them and feel that I was making the right choices. It also taught me a lot about asking for help and accepting help when it was given. Particularly I'd never run a business before, and when it became particularly apparent I had no idea what I was doing, I needed to look for mentors and guidance and support and reach out to people when I have typically been, very independent and wanting to be able to do things myself. I had to learn that wasn't helpful for me, that wasn't beneficial, and asking for help and really accepting it and learning from other people as well was a really valuable lesson that I learned at that time. But the key thing was all the beliefs that it exposed about myself. I hadn't realised that I had sort of lack of confidence in a lot of areas around marketing myself as an individual and my skills. I had been one of many for such a long time working in different businesses that standing out on my own and being the only person to make decisions and needing to sort of be confident in those decisions was very challenging. Also, my relationship with work and rest, I needed to look at those beliefs that I had about valuing myself and valuing my rest and not needing to work all the time in order to be productive, which is something that we are taught a lot. Your output is what makes you valuable. So when I was wanting to rest and not have to work 9 to 5 necessarily, that brought up a lot of challenges for me as well, and thinking, I feel like I'm not being productive, I feel like I'm not making the most of this, I feel like I should be working more. And having burnt out and having overworked, I really needed to address that imbalance, but also the beliefs that I had around that, and did I feel comfortable doing that? when I had been doing something different for so long, and my belief system was completely set up around overworking and overgiving. So really the biggest challenge wasn't starting a business, but shifting my mindset around who I am and, what work means and what I believe that I am capable of, and all of these things. I had spent so long identifying as an employee, which is very different from being, a freelancer or self-employed or being a business owner. And so stepping into the role of a business owner felt completely foreign to me, because it is literally a very different identity. If you think about an employee, someone who says, I am an employee, or I work for this company, you are often told when to turn up, you're told what your working hours are, you're broadly told what to do every day. There are projects that come in and the work is divided up and it's allocated, and you have your set of responsibilities that you learn how to sort of perfect your work within that role and within that set of boundaries, really. But then stepping into the role of business owner is very different. Suddenly it takes away all those restrictions and the sort of box you have to fit into when you're working in a company, and it just blows it wide open. So really the world is literally your oyster, but then you need to decide what that means to you. What do you want to stand for? What do you want that to look like for yourself? How do you want to be acting and behaving every day? It's a completely different identity and a way that you see yourself in order to be able to be successful as a business owner compared to an employee. And so I wasn't just trying to build a business, but I was trying to become a completely different version of myself at the same time. Someone who was confident in going out and marketing and really believed in the value of what I was offering. And, I felt like I had something important to say, and I was confident that I could create a transition for people and help them create change in their own life. That was a very different set of skills that I needed. I had to strip everything back and begin to rebuild my sense of self from the foundation up, based on who I wanted to be in future, a future version of me that I hadn't actually become yet. I was still very much embodying the employee who was I was really just hoping, I just need someone to tell me what to do here. And I needed to step away from that, because that was the thing that was keeping me stuck. And that meant a lot of self-awareness and self-reflection, really taking the time to recognize and understand the beliefs that I had about myself, and to shift away from them, to see a different point of view, to see what I was capable of, and to really reinforce those beliefs that I wanted, that were more empowering and would help me get to the next step where I wanted to go. And I also had to redefine what success looked like for me, rather than showing up, 9 to 5 and being on time and being presentable and working to the best of my ability within those 7 or 8 hours. I had to redefine that and think, what do I want this to look like? Does it mean that I'm working, 20 hours of the day? Or does success actually mean I've worked 5 solid hours that are really productive and beneficial and fulfilling, and they've actually made a difference and moved me forward in what I want to be doing? And I had to give myself permission to define things for myself and to step into that and to know that that was okay. And it was in going through that process that I found clarity with what I wanted things to look like. So I stopped trying to force progress and thinking I just need to work 9 to 5 days a week. I stopped trying to force myself into these restrictions and just started to allow things to evolve naturally. And, I started to work when I felt energized and wanted to work. And obviously there is some level of self-discipline within that. You can't just think, I don't feel like it, I'll do it tomorrow. But I learned to work much more with my energy. And so that is when things started to click. And it led me to doing what I do today, which is helping other people find clarity when they're feeling stuck, and addressing the limiting beliefs that come up, and why do we think like that, and how can we change that to be much more empowering in a way that helps us. What can we believe that will help us to get to where we want to go, and how can we step into this next level of who we want to be and our next level of growth with real confidence in a way that feels good. We're not trying to force ourselves to do something that we don't want to do. We're creating a real clear idea of what we want to be doing and who we want to be, and stepping into that feeling good about it. And the point really is that in many, many different ways, really the last several years have been very challenging, for me personally, in lots of different ways. But yet I wouldn't change any of it because of who I have been able to become as a result. And, and that is the point of the struggle. It was a difficult time when I had set myself 6 months to get myself up and running, and I didn't meet that, and it went on for much longer, and I was getting very impatient. That was a challenge, but it also brought up all these areas for me to look at and think, oh, this is what I need to be doing. This is what I need to overcome to reach that next level of where I want to be in my life. And I think when you only know the good times, you just don't have the same opportunities to really overcome your circumstances and to discover what you really are capable of. It's when you are put under pressure that you can really discover that for yourself and see who you actually can be when you put your mind to it. And the biggest game changer for me was in understanding the mechanics behind creating a lasting change, and looking at how my beliefs were creating my reality and keeping me very safe and snug. I had been very comfortable in my job, but I wasn't happy or fulfilled. And I needed to let go of those beliefs about what work looked like and what I needed to be doing and what I was capable of in order to shift that belief and create that transformation where I could start to do something different and be a different person. And once I learned how to break free from that old mindset, then that was when everything changed. If you are going through a transition in your life, or you are feeling stuck with where you are and you need help to get to that next level of wherever you want to be, in the description box below you can find the process that I used to change how I was showing up and really start looking at my identity and the beliefs I had around that, so that I could stop feeling like I was just running up against a brick wall, but actually get the results that I was looking for and move towards the person that I really wanted to become. So that's in the description box below.